Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Let's start our video with a story in which an evil manager began to fire people and put his friends in their place. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Fire me, and you will get arrested. In 1995-1996, I was a fine and applied arts major in college. Basically, I was a guy who loved to paint. As such, I took a job at a major retail arts and crafts chain. We had a great group of people that managed every department. I'd work 20 to 30 hours per week. It was primarily for the discounts I would receive on art supplies. In fact, when old oil colors had expired, I would receive both the markdown price and the employee discount. Life was great. Pay was good, and everyone got along. I'd worked there for 9 months, and everything seemed to be going well until they hired a new person as their assistant store manager. Her name was unique. This only matters because of future background checks, but as soon as she was hired, she decided to change things about the store. At first, we seemed to be friends. That was until she started firing people and getting her friends jobs in the store. She had a friend who wanted a job in the framing department. Well, she went out of her way to fire a person. She was targeting people so she could hire her friends. She even fired a guy from his position in the floral department so her friend could get a job there. She was just a terrible person with a chip on her shoulder. Things came to a head when she made false accusations against both the manager and the other assistant manager for harassment against her. She had her friends back her claims up. I knew that these other two individuals made no such claim, as one was a pretty good friend. I knew I was next, and lo and behold, that day came. What she failed to acknowledge was that I had been watching and waiting prior to my termination. They became too comfortable in their positions. She and her friends would love to visit this local karaoke bar after work and sing. What she failed to understand was that I knew they also loved to go around the back of this bar and smoke some stuff between their sets. So I simply called the cops and told them that these people are smoking something illegal behind this bar. Needless to say, she was arrested, as were her cohorts. Apparently, as per the grapevine, they were holding. Many of these people worked paycheck to paycheck and may have become homeless over her actions, so she deserved everything she received. And our second story. It's against company policy to deliver packages to an a-hole. This little gem came not from me, but from an older guy I worked with over last winter break. We'll call him Jeff for simplicity's sake. Jeff was a delivery guy for certain XYZ delivery company, and my job was as a holiday helper. Basically, I assisted in delivering the influx of holiday packages. A couple days into my temporary job, we stop at a house with a pretty long, steep driveway. I do my thing and step out of the truck, arms out for the package, but Jeff tells me not to worry about taking it to the door. Instead, we leave it at the foot of the driveway near the mailbox. Not one to question it, I comply and leave it there. All the while, Jeff has this huge crap-eating grin on his face as he blasts the truck's horn and waits a couple moments. Then there's movement from the house's front door. Hard to see, but I can make out this tubby, balding 40-something guy with a sour look on his face step out. We watch the guy, who we'll call Gabe, begin the long, arduous descent down his driveway, shuffling along at a slow pace. Jeff stays the entire time grinning like an idiot while Gabe picks up his package, barely acknowledges us, and begins climbing back up his driveway. Jeff calls out to him. "Thank you again for choosing XYZ Delivery, sir. We're proud to ensure your packages arrive safely." I can tell it bothers the F out of the guy, but he only flicks us off as he leaves. Jeff laughs, cranks up the truck, and we shove off. Completely bewildered, I turn to him and say, "What the F was that about?" Jeff only laughs again at this, in incredibly high spirits, and launches into his explanation. Apparently, the guy we just delivered to has a history of effing over the people he hires to do work for his home. He scammed a landscaping company with claims that the grass they'd replaced half of his yard with didn't perfectly match the other half. At the time, Jeff got effed over. He'd already been delivering to Gabe for years, and the guy had never been home, or had been home but never answered the door. Additionally, the guy's garage was always closed, which is important because when it rains, it's company policy to leave a package just inside the garage door for safekeeping. So one day it's drizzling outside and Jeff delivers a package to Gabe's house. For whatever reason, the garage door is open this time around, so Jeff leans in and plops the package a couple of feet from the cruddy weather. Then he goes about his day as normal. About an hour later, Jeff gets a call from his supervisor who's in a massive frenzy. "Jeff, what the hell did you do? Did you seriously mess up some guy's garage? How in the hell do you even do that?" Jeff, taken aback, does his best to get to the bottom of things with the supervisor. Apparently, Gabe had seen Jeff deliver the package to his home, seen him lean in to place the package inside, and then claimed that he'd broken the garage door. In reality, Jeff told me Gabe's door had most likely broken, and the cheap F was looking for some poor B word to pin it on. Unfortunately, Jeff was able to escape any personal liability for lack of proof. However, XYZ Deliveries itself couldn't completely throw out the claim without engaging in a costly little court battle, as they indeed had a delivery man on the premises and no proof of when the thing broke. They weighed the costs and decided a $600 payout instead of a potential thousands it would cost in legal fees. Gabe, the smug a-hole, got his garage repaired for free. Luckily for Jeff, however, a small loophole in the delivery company's policy allowed him to exact revenge. The loophole was basically this. In the case of delivering to locations where the delivery person feels he's at risk or in danger, he does not have to risk his personal well-being by setting foot on said location's property. Instead, said individual is allowed to drop the package off at the safest and most convenient location nearest the individual's property, i.e. the mailbox or foot of the driveway. Learning this, Jeff takes full advantage. The next package Gabe orders happens to be an expensive piece of electronics, and it was marked urgent. Even better, it's raining the day of delivery. Absolute downpours. Jeff pulls up to your friendly neighborhood a-hole's place and does the same thing he did with me. Blasts the horn several times and waits. Then he places the package just in front of the mailbox under a plastic tarp, another policy in case of rain. Apparently, Gabe really needed the package, as Jeff's horn draws him from his home and on a slow, slogging descent down his driveway. He's fuming by the time he reaches the bottom, with Jeff smiling like a professional. "Why the F didn't you bring it up to my mother effing house?" Gabe inquired politely as he grabbed the soggy-bottomed package. "Company policy, sir," Jeff replied. "Can't set foot on a customer's property and risk further damages." Gabe's mouth opened and closed like a fish as he tried to sort this out. He's completely soaked now and shivering, so he just said, "Go to hell." "Certainly, sir. What kind of shipment would you like for that?" At a loss of words, Gabe just begins slogging back up his driveway, with Jeff giving him a couple friendly honks to send him on his way. Then he continues on with his deliveries. The entire incident took place a couple of years or so before I began helping Jeff out, but to this day, he loves exacting company policy on the jackwagon. I felt a newfound respect for the man after that, and the rest of my time working as a delivery aide was filled with more awesome stories from Jeff, the good-humored delivery man. And our last story. 1. The judge loses magistrate appointment. 2. The law enforcement officer loses his job to the city. Happened 6 years ago in my new town in the leafy suburb of Happy Valley. In June 2010, I closed on my downsize house in the town next to where I'd been living most of my life. 2 kids were gone and the other 2 were on their way to jobs and careers. Wifey and I bought the final house for working and then our retirement. Things were good. Within 2 weeks of closing, I was diagnosed with cancer and my knee broke down and required a replacement. I was walking with a cane, especially when doing stairs. I took to driving my car around the back of my house because the back steps were only 2 instead of the 4 steps in the front. Almost immediately, the code enforcement officer got on my case. The town had a new no parking rule over dirt. Cars needed to be parked over an imperious substance like blacktop or stone. Environmental reasons, and social justice warriors on the town council had passed this local law recently at the urging of the old fat mayor. The code enforcement guy ticketed me after a couple of warnings. I had continued to park near my back door on the dirt. He'd been in construction and was out of a job and friends with the fat mayor. I postponed the court date until after both surgeries, prostate removal and knee replacement, had happened. Appeared before the local magistrate/judge, pled not guilty. The local prosecutor tried the case pretty well. For the first-time offense, the code enforcement officer told of his work in spotting me parking in my own backyard multiple times. The judge bought it and fined me $1,000, first-time offense. I appealed and had to pay $400 for the court transcript. Unfortunately for the judge, the code enforcement officer, a different party, won the mayor and the council majority. And the new thin mayor didn't care for the judge nor the code enforcement officer, nor did the mayor think it was funny when I handed him the court transcript. He agreed it was overkill. I mostly won on appeal. Fine reduced to $250. The county appeal judge said he had a handicap sticker on his car. Would I please apply for a doctor's letter and show it to the local police chief? Yes, this happened. Now I could legally park any place in my yard without recourse from the town. ProRevenge part. Oh yes, the judge and the code enforcement officer. The judge lost his appointment. The thin mayor didn't like him. The judge subsequently ran for mayor on a third-party line and came in last. The code enforcement officer was downsized in short order and soon unemployed and without the town pickup truck he drove. He'd been in construction most of his life, and there was no work available at this time, so the town job had been a godsend. In my experience, when people do bad things to one person, they usually do it to more than one person. So I was just a major push in helping 2 town officials lose their jobs. Thank you, Mr. Thin Mayor. Plus, it's good to complain about bad government service to the highest local authority. Been parking in my backyard near my back door for 6 years. Like the convenience. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.